I went to prison in March of 2003, and the sentence was for 220 months. That's about 19 years. At the time I went to prison, I was in pretty good shape, and I was always athletic. After several visits to the clinic, they finally sent me out for a scan, a CT scan, and then they saw multiple growths in the neck area. Then they called me in, and the doctor said that I had cancer, I had lymphoma, but that it appeared they caught it early because it was just isolated to my neck. I basically looked like a cadaver. It was bad. You looked in the mirror and you knew the clock was ticking in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. I had it from pelvis to jawbone, basically, and that I was a stage 4. He didn't say I was terminal, but he did ask me if I had a will. And then he was like, but you're beyond what we do here. So we're going to transfer you to Lexington, where they're specifically into the blood cancers, and we're going to try to get you a bone marrow transplant. 2011 January, I was transferred to the FMC at Lexington, Kentucky. I went into a remission for about 6 months.
Okay.
But they weren't fulfilling that obligation because the doctors at University of Kentucky wanted to do another transplant with a donor and prepped me for it. And at the last minute, the BOP denied it. So at that minute, they basically changed my sentence from 19 years to life. And that's when I started pursuing the administrative remedies that they have in there, and then through the social worker, you can apply for the compassionate release, and I applied.
So explain to me about the process that you went through when you filed for the first compassionate release and you were denied. Take me through that process and how it felt, both the physical and the mental toll that it took on you.
It beats you down because, I mean, you start thinking about it and you're hopeful that it'll happen, but then you see other people who have tried, failed, so you know it's going to be an uphill battle. Like I said, I filed my administrative remedies, and I spoke to my family. I got a great family, thank God, and they were really supportive. So with working through the social work at the prison, I got all the forms, and we put it's like a package you put together. It's medical, it says where you're gonna live, all that stuff goes into the package, and we submitted it. It took about a year, about 9 months, and they responded with the denial. I mean, you start thinking about, how to make this easier on everybody. The social worker, though, she told me, no, we're going to reapply. And I was like, can we appeal? And she was like, there's no appeal process. There's no accountability to the process, which is crazy, in my opinion. But so she just said, we're going to reapply. And when I told my sisters, I said, listen, we're going to need some help. Well, because they're not fighting fair. And they reached out to your organization. For the most part, anyone in there usually has a bad experience with the process because they weren't granted it, obviously. And normally we were keeping track of those who did receive it. And what we saw was basically if they got the compassionate, in about 3 weeks was their lifespan afterwards. So in other words, they'd be released, and within 3 weeks we'd hear back that they passed. Working with the staff that's available for that program, we pushed the issue, and I filed my administrative remedies. So we were just trying to make as much noise as possible. I mean, I even said, hey, listen, let me go out, get treatment, I'll come back. You don't want to die. And obviously no one wants to die, but you definitely don't want to die in there.
Sure.
You feel like your hands are tied because there's but so much you can do while you're in there. You file the administrative remedies and they could just spin them forever. And you just, it's hard to just keep fighting. Sometimes you wake up and that mantle's pretty heavy. But you manage to keep going. I was in my room in bed, and a social worker comes up and she has the paperwork in her hand. and she's crying. And so I'm like, crap, they denied me again. And then she just threw the paperwork at me and was like, you're getting released. And so I joined her in tears. They told me, and I was released that afternoon. They're not fighting fair, and you're gonna need help. So I suggest they hire outside help, and your company was great for me. So Federal Prison Consultants is the one I would recommend. First of all, just from a personal, I made many mistakes, and I took my time, and I would have did my time because I'd made my mistakes. I don't have a problem with that. The only time it became an issue was when the rules changed. They wanted to let me die in prison, and that wasn't the judge's intent. And that's when I started fighting. But it's also given me a chance, I think I like redemption, you know, to just be a better father, a better brother, a better man. And it's been awesome to, watch my family circle the wagons, if you will, and come to my defense. Even, you know, all they do for me now that I'm out, because I'm limited in what I can do. So it's been amazing. It's just been an amazing experience. Really transforming. It's hard even to describe, but it's pretty awesome.